Once again, thank you very much, Paul. And as Paul has said, it's an exciting day because today there's going to be recognition. And I thought my session today might be one which is of interest, but you might wonder why it is that I thought that we might talk about this. The topic is rest and sleep. And a lot of time we think of this as the last thing to do. But I would like us just to visit this particular topic because it's actually a very important part of our good health. So, rest does not necessarily mean doing nothing. It means doing something that is less demanding than our usual work so that we take that opportunity to recuperate our energies and our inspiration. And so we find that if we do not take care of opportunities of rest and sleep, we will damage our own health in the short term because our performance is going to reduce, and in the long term because there are some long-term effects. So I think that this is an important topic for ourselves personally as distributors, because as distributors, as I think I've told you before, the first phase of new life that a new person sees is your face and my face. So we are the face of new life. And if that face is not inspiring or is dejected and worn out, then it does not inspire people to want to join our business. So for that reason, it is actually an important thing for us to take into account the fact that setting aside time for rest and time for sleep is not only good for our health, but also for our business. Of course, we'll also mention some of the products that the company have found to be useful in helping us to rest and to sleep. So just to start on, rest and sleep are of course not the same thing. We need both. So rest simply, as I said, means taking time away from our ordinary work to do something which is less taxing to us. So for example, if I'm a teacher where I make my living through talking, my rest should include times of quietness and listening. If I've got a job which requires a lot of physical activity, then my rest should include physical inactivity, times when I don't have a lot of demand made on my physical body. If my work is sedentary, then my rest should involve some amount of low impact exercise or movement, such as going for walks or dancing or cycling or something like that, so that we attend to different aspects of ourselves during our rest time that we normally don't attend to during the times when we are at work. And that's what makes rest a rejuvenating experience. Then another aspect of rest is sleep. But during rest, our sensory senses are still active and are involved in our environment. So we can still look at things, we can still absorb information from our environment. During sleep, on the other hand, we do not, it's a time when we draw our senses away from the environment. So when I'm asleep, it's likely that I will not be hearing conversations that are going on. Hopefully there are none going on, because for us to get good sleep, we also need quietness. But during sleep, our senses are also switched off. And that is the difference between sleeping and resting. And that is why I say we need both sleep and we need rest, because it's not the same thing. So we describe sleep as the time when the body-mind state is in sensory detachment from the environment. So we are detached from the environment, sort of like we are switched off or we are offline. But sleep is not only necessary for our health, for a healthy lifestyle, it is also the best performance enhancing activity that there is. So we hear about sports people taking performance enhancing drugs. Sleep is even better than performance enhancing drugs, because it really, really gives our body the opportunity to regain the sharpness of its edge. And I'm sure all of us have noticed that if we spend a night with poor sleep or little sleep, the next day is a struggle for us to maintain our attention sharply. We find that our mind wanders off, or we feel lethargic and don't really feel able to rise up to whatever demands our day is making. So that tells us that sleep is very important for us being able to perform well. So the required amount of sleep for any human being is between 7 and 9 hours per night. So 7 to 9 hours is the minimum that is required. And if we are getting less than 7, we are already putting ourselves in the danger of suffering from sleep deprivation, which we will see some of the consequences of sleep deprivation. And those of us who are parents and have gone through raising little children, you know what it is like when the baby will not sleep and you have to go to work and you did not sleep. It can really be wearing to you and to your colleagues, because you will be really struggling. So sleep deprivation is something that is important for us to be well aware of. So to say once again, we need between 7 and 9 hours. And during our sleep, there are certain things which are important. One of them is darkness. And especially in these days when electricity is found in many places, this is actually something we need to be aware of, that we should keep lights at a minimum. And if we are not able to do that, we might consider putting something over our eyes that can block the light, or something over our windows that can minimize the amount of light getting into the place where we sleep. So darkness is actually important. Another culprit that prevents us from getting darkness is the devices that we have, because we know that the devices that we have, like laptops and iPads and all these cell phones, they give off blue light, which interferes with the quality of our sleep, because it returns our mind to too much alertness. And we will see when we are talking about sleep cycle that we need different qualities of sleep to make up the full sleep that we need, that is essential for our health. So we should switch off our devices 2 hours before bedtime, and we can do something else that prepares us for going to sleep. For example, we can read a book, or we can listen rather than read on a screen. So to switch off the screen, but we can continue listening like on an MP3 or something like that, so that our mind also starts to cool down and go towards the resting mood. Another important thing for good sleep is silence. And here again, it might be necessary, depending on where we live, to get something that provides white noise. White noise is that continuous dull noise that is in the background that helps to drown out startling sounds if we live in a place where there is a lot of noise, because we can't always choose where we live. So we can have white noise, or we can use earplugs that cut out the sound for us. Some telephone apps also can provide us with white noise, which we can plug in on our phone, and it just provides that background noise, and we listen through our earphones to ensure that the disturbing sounds do not interrupt our sleep. Then another important thing is to follow what we call our circadian rhythm. As human beings, we have evolved to be awake during daytime and asleep during the night. And that is the best system to use. I know it is not possible for all of us, because some of us do shift work. This is actually not very good for our health, but of course, many times we do it because we do not have the option to choose other work. However, it is good to know that if our situation allows, we should try to be awake during the day and then go to sleep during the night. And in that way, we follow the rhythm with which we have evolved, because our entire system is based on that rhythm. Our digestion is based on that rhythm of being awake during the day and asleep during the night. Our hormonal systems are based on the same circadian rhythm. So as much as possible, we should try to follow the circadian rhythm. I know that especially young people sometimes tend to like to be awake for long hours into the night and then sleep late in the day. But this is actually not the best way to go about it. As much as possible, it's better to make an early start so that we can finish early and sleep within good time, than to stay awake late and then start late, because then we throw off our system, and later on, as time goes by, we'll start to see some problems coming up from that. So good quality sleep occurs in a cycle. Each cycle takes about 90 minutes, and each night will contain between 4 and 6 cycles. So it occurs in a cycle, then that cycle ends, we start another cycle, that ends, another one, and we can have a total of between 4 and 6. And each cycle is made of 3 types of sleep. The first one occurs just when we go to sleep, which is called light sleep. This is when we start dozing off. It is a brief stage that when you see that you are starting to fall asleep, our heart rate begins to drop, but it is still not low. And our breathing also slows down, and our body begins to relax, but it's not yet quite relaxed. After the light sleep stage, we go on to the deep sleep, where our heartbeat continues to slow down, our body temperature begins to drop, and our eyes stop moving. So our eyes become still within their sockets. Then we go to the third stage, which is called the slow wave or delta sleep. Delta sleep is the deepest sleep. So this one is a very important sleep, and it's the one that we should really try to make sure we have, because it's the one which really is important for our health. This delta sleep is the one where it is hard for us to wake up, because by then our heartbeat is very slow, our body temperatures have dropped quite a bit, and we are quite withdrawn from our environment. We are in the depths of sleep. And the reason why this stage of sleep is important is because it is a stage in which certain important body activities take place. The first one is that this is when the body's repair system really kicks into work. So the body repairs damaged tissues within it. It replenishes the things which have been getting used during the day. And this is the best time for it to happen, because we are not active and everything has slowed down. So the body takes advantage to repair itself during deep sleep. The second thing is, this is when our immune cells are really built up and strengthened. So our immunity requires this deep sleep for it to retain its strength, because this is when the repairs take place. Any cells which are no longer good or active get broken down, and so on. So the immunity also requires deep sleep for it to be strengthened. And the third thing, there are others, but I'll just mention these 3, because the third one is a very, very important one. It is during deep sleep that our brain cleans itself. So you can imagine that during all the time when we are awake. So for example, now that I'm talking to you and you're listening, and maybe you're doing other things around your house or around your office, this is a time when our brains are very active, and that activity produces certain byproducts. But because our brains are working very fast, it's not possible for those byproducts to be cleaned out of our brain. But when we go to sleep and reach the stage of deep sleep, that is when the cleaning system of the brain goes into full gear and starts removing all the toxins that have been produced by our brain activities during the day. And so just those 3, but there are, of course, you will find many other things that happen during deep sleep. But if we even just consider those 3, you can see that if we never go to sleep well enough to get a minimum of 2 hours of good deep sleep, then it means that our brains will progressively start to accumulate toxins. Our immune system will start to be less strong, and our body will start to have little bits of breakages here and there. And this lack of good sleep has the toxins that accumulate because our brains don't get cleaned have been associated with the development of Alzheimer's. So just to take note that deep sleep is very important, and to take care of our brains, not just for today and tomorrow, but in the long term. And then the last stage of sleep is called the REM sleep, or REM sleep, which stands for rapid eye movement sleep. This is the sleep in which dreams occur. During REM sleep, our eyeballs move within the sockets, but we are still asleep and our limbs are temporarily paralyzed, even though our brain activity starts picking up. And after this REM sleep, the cycle ends and we can wake up. So you may find that sometimes during the night you start feeling awake and then you fall off asleep again. That is the end of one cycle and the beginning of another cycle. So we have these four stages happening in a cyclic manner during the 7 to 9 hours that we are asleep. And as you can see, each cycle is going to contribute to the well-being of our bodily health. Then moving on, what are some of the negative effects of sleep deprivation? Of course, obviously the opposite of what we were saying, because our bodies requires sleep in order to properly repair itself. By being deprived of sleep, we find that we lose the freshness of our performance, because our bodies will start to be a bit worn down or run down. And that is why sometimes we say, I feel run down or I feel worn out. It's because our body is not getting the time it requires to repair itself and to refresh whatever has been used up or worn out. We also find that there is sleep deprivation leads to reduced ability to concentrate or to focus. And this is something that is similar to ADHD. And this is why this information is also important for parents and for our children, that we make sure that we give them a good sleep and waking routine so that they get in the habit of sleeping well, because it is important for their performance at school and also, of course, for ourselves as adults at work. It has been observed that 20 hours of continual staying awake without sleeping impairs our mental abilities to the same degree as it would if we were drunk. So 20 hours of continual wakefulness is the same as having taken about 3 or more drinks. And that means that actually we should take care to get those hours of rest that are recommended. And then another negative effect of sleep deprivation is that if we are deprived of sleep for long, what the mind starts doing is taking what is called micro sleep, brief moments of falling asleep, and then you wake up. Maybe that has happened to you sometimes. I know in the student days, this could easily happen, that you stayed awake all night preparing for an exam. And then now when you need to stay awake, you keep on dozing off and waking up with a start. The micro sleep is very dangerous, especially let's say if you're driving. If you drift off to sleep and you are behind the wheel, it's very easy to get an accident. Or if you are handling machinery, other kinds of machinery, this can actually be a serious negative effect for our safety. Another thing that the sleep deprivation does is that it affects our mood. So it is difficult to remain optimistic and enthusiastic when we have not slept well, because all those hormones that are active in maintaining good moods and optimism are dependent on us getting a good sleep cycle. So those are some of the effects. And lastly, I wanted to speak about the benefits of good sleep. The first one is that it gives the brain the opportunity for eliminating toxins, and that includes the toxins which have been linked to Alzheimer's. The second one is that it leads to greater productivity, creativity, and energy. The third is that it improves our moods and gives us the ability to cope with difficult situations more. So we find that our minds are able to engage with problems that we come across more readily if we have had good sleep. And of course, good sleep is also important for our skin, the health of our skin, as well as the healing of wounds that we may have internally or externally. So these are some of the beneficial effects of good sleep. And I'm simply mentioning them so that we take this as an important thing in our lives. And the importance of the importance we give to this will be shown by our willingness to set a bedtime alarm. So we should set an alarm in our phone if we tend to struggle to get to bed on time, to set an alarm that tells us, okay, now it's time to start my preparation for sleep. So if, let's say, I plan to go to bed at 10, then I should set the alarm at around 8:30 or 9:30 thereabouts, so that I start the process of slowing things down, finishing whatever work that I'm doing, so that when it comes to going to bed, I'm not trying to finish off things. And then, because usually what happens is that if we put too many things in the period we should, between our end of work time and our going to bed time, what will happen is that we'll find that we should be going to bed, but we still have got a lot that we haven't finished. And if we try to finish, it means that we don't get to bed on time. And if we don't get to bed on time, of course, we will not sleep enough. And when the alarm for waking up goes off, we find that we still want to sleep some more. And the cycle just keeps on going on. So in order to commit ourselves to adequate sleep, the first and most important thing is to choose a bedtime and to put into place practices that make it possible for us to go to bed at the time we have selected. Now, also, as I said, Neolife has got products that help the quality of our sleep. I know that many of us, as a result maybe of situations that we are in, maybe there's a sick child, maybe there is a certain anxiety here or there, or a sick parent, or a personal situation that is causing us some trouble, we may struggle to sleep. So some of the supplements that are recommended to aid our sleep are CalMag, or for those who have it in Southern Africa, we have magnesium as a standalone supplement. So magnesium is very useful for helping us to sleep well. If you do not have magnesium, then we can use CalMag instead. Another helpful supplement is aloe vera plus to drink, because it is a tonic that helps us to relax and to our digestive system to work off. And you'll remember I told you some time back, for those of us who are in other training, that it is helpful to not eat too close to our bedtime, not to go to bed with a full stomach. So we should not be starving with hunger, but we should also not be full. So our last meal should not be too close to bedtime. We should give ourselves a minimum of 2 or 3 hours before bedtime as the end of our meal. That way, most of the early part of digestion will have taken place. And when we go to bed, we do not have digestive problems as a result. But in addition to that, aloe vera plus really helps in that aspect, to make sure that when we go to bed, our digestive system is not disturbed and does not disturb our sleep. Then the other product is Flavonoid Complex. It's also very helpful for improving the quality of our sleep. And for those who have herbal rest and relax, that's another supplement that is useful for helping us to rest and also to get to sleep. Trianen is also helpful for sleep. So any of those products can be recommended for people who are trying to commit to better sleep, or to help people who are struggling to get a good quality of sleep. As tonight is going to be our recognition night, I have decided to not answer the questions that I received this week. I will push them on to the session next week. So apologies for those who had sent questions. But I'm sure all of us are excited by the recognition that is about to follow. Some of us may have great things that have happened, or good things that have happened. Some of us, we may not have hit our target, but whatever category you fall into, I want to encourage you to participate in listening to and cheering those of us who have are going to be recognized. Because even though I might not be recognized today, next time it might be my turn. And so I rejoice with those who are recognized today, because I know they too will rejoice with us when we are recognized. So I want to hand over to Pascal and Paul, who are going to take us through the recognition. Meanwhile, I wish you all the best in the month of May, and may we go out there and make a positive difference in everybody's life, making the world a happier and healthier place with our Neolife products and our positive mental attitude. Thank you everyone for your attention. And here is Pascal and Paul. Thanks a lot.